welcome to Two Idiots Who Don't Know Nothing. My name is Kyle.
And I'm Keith.
And get ready to go on a very special adventure with us. I can't wait for it. By the way, this is going to be rated M for mature.
So listeners' discretion is advised.
Alright. As y'all know from last week's episode, this week's episode is Paranormal. Ghouls, Ghosts, and Goblins. Oh my. Alright, so for the next segment, Keith, go ahead and start us out with your bullshit week.
Where do I want to start?
You only got 2 minutes.
Well, yeah, I know this. But yeah, it's pretty much the same as last week. Bunch of bullshit. Damn near died coming home last night, so it was pretty fun. Yeah, besides almost dying coming home last night, went to go see 2 of my old friends on Thursday because they were killed in 2011, so I went to go spend Thursday with them on St. Patrick's Day when they were killed. So that was a rough day for me, but other than that, the week was pretty much same old bullshit.
Yeah.
Sitting at a desk looking at freaking cameras all damn day. It gets boring after a while.
I'm so glad I got out of that industry, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And I still look at computer screens.
Oh, yeah, trust me. Trying to look at cameras for 8 hours a freaking day, possibly more, if your relief don't show up like half the time mine don't. So you're just sitting there going, what's on cameras? Look, nothing. Bet. Alright, Kyle, how was your week?
My week was... It wasn't that bad, actually. Surprisingly, again. It was a long week. Don't get me wrong. It was a long fucking week. But it ended pretty fucking well. Wouldn't you say, honey?
What?
Wouldn't you say? It ended pretty well this week? It ended pretty well. So, that's a different episode, what happened last night. It's a different episode.
Alright. So, shall we jump straight into the topic of the week, Kyle?
I don't know, shall we?
I think everybody's ready for paranormal.
I'm loving this new thing.
You can actually put in sound effects.
I can! It's so weird, and it actually fits for this segment.
I know, right?
Anyway, as you guys know, this is the paranormal segment, my favorite fucking subject. I love paranormal. I really do.
I know, you're like a big little kid in a candy store when it comes to paranormal.
We're actually at an actual table, and we're sitting down, so I can't actually jump up and down for this segment, because there's going to be a lot of stories, there's going to be a lot of myths, and there's going to be a lot of legends in this episode. And each one of these myths, legends, and true stories gets me so fucking excited. And so happened today, I actually have an investigation today.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice. Very nice.
So as you guys know from the last segment, when you guys got to know us, I'm a part of a paranormal team called HI. Okay? Haunted Iowa Investigations. We go to we have gone to 2 facilities that are big investigations. Okay? Mm-hmm. We'll do some small-time, part-time things, but other than that, I won't stream the small time. I think I only streamed once for the small time, and that was Tubby's house. Andrew?
Yeah.
We went to his house because he reached out to Julie, Vic, Donna, and I. And, these damn scammers. He was having some, I don't know how to put this. He had like different spirits in his house. He had a kid for one. Mm-hmm. He had an old timer, a middle-aged man, and then he had something down in his basement that I agitated so much that I ended up getting scratched that night.
Oof.
And we were only there for maybe 4 or 5 hours tops. And that was it. And we did some, every single time we go to a place, we do research on the place. So that way we know when it was built, what time era it was, and what we're getting ourselves into. Mm-hmm. Okay? Come to find out, Tubby's house, his house was actually the servants' headquarters for a millionaire here in Des Moines.
Really?
He was the feed and rice owner.
Huh.
And he lived in that old-time neighborhood of where Tubby lives, over by where Cassie and Joe live.
Okay.
But a block over, or 2 blocks over and down more towards downtown.
Okay.
That's where he lived. And he actually had a map. He had a map of what it looked like. And it was beautiful. Beautiful. But there was rumors that there's a kid that died there from pneumonia. There was a guy that hung himself there. There was an angry male spirit there that we couldn't figure out where he came from. We ended up solving a murder there.
Huh.
Yeah, that night. And then whatever's down in the basement, we told Tubby, don't agitate it. It can be down there. It wants to be known that it's there. Just don't agitate it like I did. Because he was generally scared, and he thought about moving that night after we got done.
Yeah.
But we told him, all's well. The kid spirit's just playful. The person that hung himself, it's just going to reenact that story every single night. And you're going to hear that thud of when he threw himself over the stairs and his body hit the side of the wall. The kid spirit actually was playing peekaboo with us all night.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And so Tubby told us, if you watch Ghost Adventures, don't get me started on that show. Please don't get me started on that show. Don't start yourself on that show, Kyle. Ghost Adventures. If you played Ghost Adventures before anything, it would spark up the activity. So we started. And no shit, it started the activity. It was weird, man. It was one of those. That night was a special night, not only because we were helping out a friend.
Yeah.
But knowing that we helped a couple spirits out, he hasn't encountered those 2 spirits. Half of these spirits just want to tell their story. You help them out somehow, calm them down, and then they rest peacefully. I don't know if any of our viewers or any of our listeners believe in paranormal, but we'll have a segment later on, either today or next week maybe, and have our listeners call in and see if they believe in them and if they have a story they want to tell.
Yes.
That'd be kind of cool. So we went down to the Railroad House, or the Klondyke Hotel. The Klondyke Hotel was right off of a railroad that's still there today. It was in Manila, Iowa. Okay? Now, you gotta pardon the barking, guys. My beautiful girlfriend and I are dog sitting, and there's one dog that likes to bark constantly.
Of course, you have to sneeze now.
But it was that one was humbling. There was a particular story that I absolutely it came to heart to me because I respect military veterans, as yourself, Keith.
Yep.
There was a military person there that went off to war, and his wife stayed behind at the Klondike Hotel. He came back, and she was in bed with another man. So he ended up killing himself at the Klondike Hotel. So I took my spirit box in there, and I decided I'm gonna talk to this person. And we had a full-on conversation. I was sitting on his bed. I had my spirit box on his dresser, and I asked if he was here. He said yes. I asked what his name was. He said his name was Chris. I asked what rank he was, and he said he was a colonel in the U.S. Army. Yeah, he was high ranked.
Oof.
High ranked. And I told him, I was like, can you please explain what happened? And he literally walked me through like I was there with him of what happened, how he killed himself, why he killed himself. I'm like, but you were well respected within the Army. Why would you do that, you know? But his wife ended up interrupting him because she didn't want us to know the full story. And we kind of thought she was a bitch for that.
Yeah.
know? So we didn't get the full story of what happened. I guess somewhere in there he said they had kids that were back over at his parents' house in another town in Iowa. But that Klondyke Hotel was a different experience. There was so many spirits, you could just feel it. That night, there's a book there from other investigators that we didn't know about until the morning time. And that night, I felt like something was stabbing me right here, constantly, like taking a shiv to my chest, and just kept going to town on it. And it took the breath out of me. I went hard on the ground, like literally like I'm walking like a baby. And I can't catch a breath, and I'm starting to cry. Out of everything that's happened to me in life with ghosts, this has never happened to me. This was a malicious spirit. Like, way too malicious.
Oh, yeah.
It was nuts. It was nuts. So Cassie has this necklace that helps spirits not be near you. And as soon as she put that on, it stopped.
Huh.
It was the weirdest thing ever. And we looked, I pulled up my shirt and we looked, and I had a red mark right where I was feeling the pain.
Oof.
It was crazy. So Cassie told me to keep that necklace on. And I looked at her and I was like, but you need it. Because spirits attach to you easily. And she goes, they attach to you way more easily than me. But you need to wear it. So I was like, whatever. So I wore it the rest of that night. Cassie had an experience in the bathroom, and we actually caught a fucking face.
Oh.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I walk in. At that point in time, I walk in. And all of a sudden, as soon as Cassie says, show yourself, it shows itself. And then comes back. Goes back out of frame. I'm just about to sleep. And Joe and Cassie are going over the footage, and they catch that. And all of a sudden, I hear Cassie saying, what the fuck? And I jump out of my sleeping bag, and the rest of us flock over to that computer. And Vic and Donna were there at that point in time, too. And I'll tell you a story about Vic and I there, too.
Uh-oh.
We tried to reenact it, and we couldn't reenact it. It was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, an encounter that we captured. It was awesome.
Nice.
When Cassie said, show yourself. He definitely showed himself, you know?
Yeah.
It was amazing. But with Vic and I that night, there was a kid at the last room. And we had some candy. And I have this thing that I gave Vic because he loved it so much. It's called a rook.
Okay.
It lights up and it vibrates. Okay? We set it on the bed, and Vic and I are talking to the spirit, one-on-one.
Okay.
Vic doesn't like kids, but Vic will talk to kids. Vic's got a way with kids to like them, but he doesn't like them. You know?
Yeah.
I.e., my kids. They call him Uncle Vic. But we were going back and forth with this kid, and this rook has been silent all night.
Okay.
Nothing has touched it. Nothing has made it vibrate. All of a sudden, you hear, and that rook starts going crazy.
Huh.
So I'm like, hey, buddy, can you stop that? And all of a sudden, you hear nothing.
That's weird.
I'm like, okay, buddy, here's the deal. Tap 1 for yes, tap 2 for no. And Vic comes in, he goes, if you do this, I got a candy bar. He says, you like candy? And all of a sudden that rook went. we had this kid talking through this rook, and he was absolutely enjoying it. Like, the bed started to move. He was bouncing up and down on the bed. We had this kid thoroughly happy.
Nice.
Vicky and I are like grabbing each other because we're so excited, we're happy, like we want to jump up and down and start screaming, but we can't because we have an investigation going on, you know? So we get done with the investigation, we tell them, hey, we're going to leave this device in here since you like it so much, you can play with it however you want. You can tap it, you can move it, you can do whatever you want. And Vic goes, and because you did what we wanted you to, here's your candy. And we gave the candy and we put it up on the pillow. So we weren't done with this kid. We wanted to go have a smoke. We weren't done with this kid. We told everybody. I had to put on I have an EVP watch that I need to put on. I needed to tell it, me about to talk to everybody else and scream. And I had to message Julie to say the same thing, and any other person that had an EVP going at that point in time, they had to say that in their stuff because I messaged them. I was like, no one go in this kid's room. Vic and I are talking to this kid. We love this kid. No one's going in here until we say we can go in here. Everybody agreed with that. We get outside. We light up our cigarettes. I look at Vic, and Vic looks at me, and he goes, dude! I've never seen him this excited before. This kid was absolutely amazing. Mm. This kid, I don't want to say performed for us, because that's not the proper word and terminology for it. He helped us understand the world, understand afterlife. This kid saw the light, but he said he was cold. He was stuck.
Oof.
So, again, I don't know if our viewers and listeners believe in the paranormal. I don't know if you believe in the paranormal.
Oh, of course I do.
But, to me, I hold dear to this because I do believe in it with the encounters I had. Mm-hmm. So I felt for this kid. Right? So we call everybody in. Not only did Vic and I walk in, that candy bar was on the ground. That rook was on the dresser. The kid was having a heyday. You know?
Yeah.
So I get the rook, I put it back on the bed. Vic picks up the candy bar and puts it on the pillow. For the second time. We call Joe in, and Joe sees that this kid is interacting with us through this rook. Mm-hmm. And he's thoroughly enjoyed. He goes, I gotta get Cassie. She's gonna love this. Let's go get Cassie. So Cassie came in, and Vic and I are still asking it questions, and it's doing that. Mm-hmm. And he's just loving it. We're just Vic and I are just sitting there just smiling because he's just playing with this rook. And Cassie almost breaks down crying.
Oof.
Because it's a kid.
Yeah.
So Julie comes up, and it's starting to get lighter, and the room's starting to get crowded, and the kid's starting to get shy. And I pull out another candy bar, and I was like, hey, buddy, if you answer our questions one more time, we'll give you a second candy bar. And that thing got louder. I've never heard that vibration of that rook get so loud in my life. So we asked it a series of more questions, and we ended up giving it a second candy bar.
Yeah.
So that following morning, we told Klondyke Hotel personnel, we called them up and said, hey, there's 2 candy bars on the pillows upstairs. A kid's spirit was speaking to us, to 2 of our individuals, and they told him that they can have these 2 candy bars if he answered the questions, and he did. So please leave them out of respect for us, out of respect of the spirit, leave them there. Mm-hmm. And then Klondike Hotel people will say, yeah, we still get messages from Klondike Hotel of those candy bars.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They'll send us pictures. The candy bar fell down. This candy bar was over here. This candy bar was actually downstairs in the kitchen.
Huh.
Yeah. So they love it. They love it when paranormal investigators come in and write in this book of the experiences they had. This motherfucker had some balls, and he was the only one there. He did an investigation by himself, mm-hmm. which, if you're listening to this, please do not do that. Do not do that at all. Always have someone with you for your own safety. Never go to an investigation alone. Okay? It was nuts that night. And I didn't have any service at that time. and I wish I did because I was streaming it. It was laggy. People didn't like it, so I had to stop it. I still have recordings of the Klondike Hotel on my phone. It was amazing.
I had a really strange experience when I was going to school in Iowa City because, well, as you know, well, now the listeners will know, I went to the University of Iowa for college, and it was, I want to say, Wednesday night about 11 o'clock, and of course I had a class I had to attend because it was an astronomy class over in Van Allen Hall. And for those who don't know, there was a shooting back in 91.
Yep.
A physics student had killed 3 people in Van Allen Hall with a .38.
Yep.
And I am sitting down in the basement of this building, waiting on my instructor to get there. And I'm the only one sitting there. I'm like literally the only person in this building at the time. And I'm sitting here on my phone, and I hear what sounds like a gunshot. I mean, really close. It's like, okay. I know I'm in downtown Iowa City, but that seemed like it was here in the building. So I went to investigate. And I get up about 2 or 3 floors from the basement and walking down this hall, and there was a mop bucket that was kind of sitting on the corner of a side hall. And kind of peer around, and I walk towards one of their lecture halls in this building. Check in there, make sure nobody's in there. And I turn around, come back, and the mop bucket's gone. I'm like, there was a mop bucket sitting right there on that corner. I go all the way up to the top of the building, clear to the roof, and there's absolutely nobody in this building. I'm like, okay, this is getting weird. And I decided to head back down to the basement, back to my stuff, and I get down there, and the mop bucket is sitting right next to my stuff. I mean, right next to my backpack. It's like, you were just up 3 floors. And it even said 3rd floor bathroom on the mop bucket. And it's like, yeah, you were just up there. How the hell did you get down here? Because there's no elevator to get down to the basement. It's stairs. And it's like, how in the fuck did this happen? It's like 3 floors is, I mean, big deal. Especially with a mop bucket. So I take this freaking mop bucket and I take it to the end of the hall. And, I mean, there's no water in this mop bucket. So I take the mop out and I set it next to it. I go back down, put my headphones back in. And just before I'm ready to hit my music again, the mop hit the floor. And it's like, okay, this is getting pretty spicy. And just about that time, I hear what sounds like 2 more gunshots. Right after that. And it's like, oh yeah, this is Van Allen Hall. I forgot. People told me about this my freshman year. And this is like my junior year that this happened. And I'm like, I totally forgot about people telling me they can hear the gunshots at like 11 o'clock at night in this building. And it's like, totally forgot about that. But yet, I was still enthused. I wondered, who in the hell is still in this building? Because, I mean, this is like a 7-story building to get to the roof. And I'm like, screw it. I'm going to clear to the roof. I'm going to go sit up there until my astronomy class. I said, screw that. I ain't dealing with it. And about 10 minutes later, I got a freaking text from the instructor saying, hey, no class tonight. We're canceling all labs because it was a lab class for my astronomy class. I'm like, great. So I'm here by myself in this building. Okay, fuck this shit. I'm going home.
Now, another building that I thoroughly enjoy, Julie thoroughly enjoys. We've been there twice. It's called Edinburgh Manor.
I've heard about it.
It is in Monticello, Iowa. Not too far away from Iowa City. It's about 10 minutes away from Iowa City, north. I'm sorry, guys. Like I said, we're dog sitting, so if you can hear dogs, I apologize. But Edinburgh Manor, okay? I have a TikTok. I have some stuff up from Edinburgh Manor. So if you go to Monster Drinking Kyle on TikTok, you can watch some of those. You have to scroll through my history a little bit, but they're there. But Edinburgh Manor, the first night that we went, it was unforgettable. unforgettable. That night, I got so close to the spirit realm. All night long, I was going in and out. In and out. I was going into that time period of whatever spirit was talking to me in that point in time, and I could see what the building used to be back then. And then I'd snap out of it, and I'd see this old, worn-down building with wallpaper coming off the walls, ceiling tiles starting to fall. The ceiling fans are down like this. They're drooped down with the humidity. It was nuts. That whole night. Do you need to go outside, Izzy? Do you need to go outside? No? Okay. What? What? What, honey? What? No. Anyway, there was a little girl that attached to me that night. And I forget what her name was. And it got to the point where she attached to me so much, she followed me home. Okay? She wasn't harmful. She was joyful. She was playing. And I'll tell you the reason why she followed me home. Okay? There was the girl. There was a girl there. I think her name was Susie. But all night long, my viewers were saying, we're hearing the name Susie. Every single time we asked for a name, my viewers would hear Susie. And this guy that gave us a tour said that these ghosts used our technology. They got so used to investigators that they used technology. They spoke through the phone. If you were talking on the phone, they spoke through any live feed or any recording that you couldn't hear with your ears. The guy told us, I'm getting like goosebumps talking about this because it still amazes me. There was a instance where the guy was getting ready to do a tour, and he was listening to music down in the kitchen, down in the basement. Okay. And he was playing music on his phone, and he turns around, and his music shuts off, and as he's turning around, he says he sees this pot slamming down to the ground. Now, we knew that there was a malicious spirit downstairs. We read about it. We did some history. Why did it get really cold all of a sudden down towards my feet?
Doors open.
Oh. Sorry, guys. So, anyways, where was I?
I don't know, because you talked about it getting cold. I was like, wait, what? I was so zoned in. You mentioned that, and it's like, wait, door's open. It's like, there's a door there.
Anyway, so he picks up the pot, and he picks up his phone. He says, I just charged it. It was at 100%, and it was down to 15%. Huh. So, and we all know, if we're investigators in the paranormal realm, we know that they use our technology to use whatever power and can kill phones, cameras, any of our equipment in any time period. Yep. And we know that. And when we know that a spirit's trying to do something, we'll see that our batteries go down. We're like, whoa, we're about to see a show. You know? And I actually got smart after this investigation because they use my phone a lot. I now carry a juice pack with me. Yeah. And I charge up my juice pack. I plug in one end of my cord, and I plug the other end to my other phone. I'm good to go. Yay! I'm all wired up, and I'm like, yeah. You know? But that night, my viewers kept saying, you need to talk to Sarah. It was Sarah. Her name was Sarah, not Susie. It was Sarah. They're like, you need to talk to her. You need to talk to her. You need to sit down with the dowel rods, and you need to talk to her. Mm-hmm. So Julie had the camera pointed at me at this point, and I'm sitting there with the dowel rods, and I'm asking it, cross it for yes, split it for no. Mm-hmm. I said, Are you attached to me? Those dowel rods started crossing.
Ooh.
So I was like, okay, can you split those apart for me? And then went back straight. So then I was like, is there something you want to show me? And they started going, crossing again. It's like, okay, can you please split them? And she started splitting them.
Mm-hmm.
Not only did I have that, I had the rook. The rook, again.
Yeah.
Everybody knows what the rook is. I explained it. It's a black little device with 2 red lights, and they blink, and it starts vibrating when a spirit plays with it. It was sitting right there. And as these things are crossing, my rook is going nuts, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even if they split apart, my rook goes nuts. Any spiritual activity that's going around near me, that thing will go off.
Yeah.
Okay. I asked it. I knew at that point in time what she wanted to show me.
Mm-hmm.
We got Cassie on the phone because she's a medium, and she started talking to the spirit. She goes, "Kyle, I need you to put down those dot rods." So I did, and I'm sitting there like this. Rook is sitting right there.
Mm-hmm.
And I have my eyes closed, and she starts asking me a series of questions. And she goes, "Take Kyle to that point of what you want him to see." I was like, "Cassie, I already know what she wants me to see. It's my ultimate fear." And everybody, you could just hear a in the room unanimously.
Yep.
It was a doll. And you know me. My girlfriend knows me.
You hate dolls.
I hate dolls. I hate dolls. So if any of my viewers tries to send me a fucking doll, I will hunt you down and I will kill you. I'm not joking. I am not joking. So I said, but I'm not going upstairs alone because it was upstairs.
Yeah.
That rook went crazy. The table literally started vibrating.
Oh.
And Julie spoke up and says, "Can we go with him?" And it starts quieting down. So I took up the rook, and Julie and I were, and I forget who else. I think it was Lydia, Janelle, and M were following us. And we get up to the doll room. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Dogs are playing. I thought there was a dog fight outside. We get up to the doll room, and there's a series of dolls on this couch. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
There's puzzle pieces there that say that their puzzle pieces will be around the house, the actual building or facility that's not supposed to be there, and they'll take it upstairs and they'll find that missing piece. Yeah. But Julie goes, "Okay, for your viewers, show them which doll it is." I went to a certain doll, and I put the rook there, and it went violently.
Oof.
And then I started going back towards the other dolls, and it started getting quieter and quieter. And then I go right back to that doll, and it goes nuts. So Cassie goes, "I know you don't want to do it." And I automatically start picking up the doll.
Mm-hmm.
Julie and my viewers still say to this day I was not myself. My face changed.
Yeah.
I was a different human being at that point. I sat down in the chair. I had the doll on my leg. I'm looking at the doll. I'm starting to cry. And I look at Julie. Julie says, "You had the look like you wanted to kill." She goes, "I wanted to run for my life. I've never felt this from you." She goes, "But you look like you wanted to kill someone."
Damn.
So, at that point, I snapped out of whatever I was in.
Mm-hmm.
I throw the doll, because I realized what was on my lap, into the couch, and I start running out of the building crying. And Cassie's yelling through a phone saying, "Kyle, someone needs to get Kyle out before spirits start attaching to him." Because I'm like full on, I'm uncovered.
Yeah.
My guard's down. I'm crying. I'm bawling. I get outside, and the fucking tears just start flowing. Because I saw Sarah.
Mm-hmm.
I saw her getting dropped off at the poorhouse by her parents. Because they couldn't afford her anymore. And driving off and just leaving her there with that doll that her brother gave her in a suitcase.
Oof.
And to make matters worse, Edinburgh doesn't have any records of her.
Seriously?
Seriously. We asked the owner of Edinburgh, is there records of a Sarah? And she goes, no, there's no Sarahs in the book.
Huh.
I said, there's an unmarked gravestone over at that cemetery. And they go, yeah, we were wondering. I was like, her name was Sarah, and she was 6 years old when she passed away here. And this was the second time that we went up there. And she goes, how do you know this? I was like, because she was attached to me the very first night that we came.
Damn.
I said, she followed me home. She's still at my house to this day. I know she's there because she'll touch me. And she just wants me to know, hey, I'm here. Hey, you remind me of my older brother, and I'm content here. I want her to move on, but at the same time, I'm going to keep her. You know?
Yeah, I
I'm
know.
going to remind her, because all my siblings died.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? My mom had 3 miscarriages, and all 3 were girls. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So, this is the closest thing that I have as a sister.
Yeah.
You know? So, I'm going to keep Sarah there. I don't want anything to do with her. I don't want to get rid of her. Now, there was a malicious spirit that did follow me home from investigation, and I was drowsy all the time. Donna saw it, and she made her little concoction like she does.
Yeah.
And she put it in wax, and almost like witchcraft almost.
Mm-hmm.
And she told me to shake up the sand once in a while, and once it goes black, I need to bring it in so she can redo it. So I was like, okay. I put it there. That malicious spirit hasn't came near me. It is not in my house anymore.
Nice.
That's all I gotta say. But Sarah's still there.
Hey.
I don't know what I bring home with me on investigations, because you can bring spirits home, stuff that you don't want. Okay. We're sitting there playing Magic. Vic, Donna, and I.
Mm-hmm.
Sitting there playing Magic, the Gathering, the card game. Having a blast like we do. Doing what we do. And then all of a sudden, Donna goes, hey, Kyle, do you still have a cat? I'm like, not here. I said, I had a black kitten over at my ex-wife's house that her and I were best buds. She'd sleep on me, and she'd sleep with me.
Mm-hmm.
She goes, oh, okay. I was like, why? She goes, there's a black cat underneath the couch. She's a kitten. I can tell you that. It was Lucy. I still got Lucy with me. You know?
Hey!
It was... Being a paranormal investigator, you're going to have your ups and downs.
Mm-hmm.
Tonight is going to be a down. I really have a bad feeling about this for what's going on. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying what's going on. I'm not saying where we're going. But let's just say the D word's coming in this play.
Oof.
I got pictures. I will show you later.
Oof.
But the ups and ups is you help a spirit out, they move on. The ups are, yeah, you're going to get attached to ghosts, but you need to let them stay there. Mm-hmm. Stay in a normal habitat. Do not bring them home, because whatever's at your house could spark something up that you don't want.
Yeah.
You know, with me, I knew there was a malicious spirit there when I heard hoof prints above me when I was downstairs. My grandparents were asleep.
Mm-hmm.
Hoof prints, of all things. And it's walking out of my room. I can hear it from the dining room coming down the hall. I'm like, shit. So I'm like, I'm going to make sure that it's, what I think it is. All of a sudden I whisper, Jesus. And that thing charged. And I was like, yep. Bye, Felicia. And I get out the door. So I'm like, okay, what can I do? I started doing research. And I was like, okay. So I get home. Grandpa's already out to go get Grandma. May he rest in peace. And I get in. And my background, I came from a church. Mm-hmm. Assemblies of God. I still go here and there with my kids. My kids go to church. Whatever God or religion you believe in, you do you. There's no hate. There's no nothing in this group. Okay? I'm just going to put that right then and there. Whatever you believe in, you believe in. I will respect you. You respect anybody else that has a different religion viewpoint than you. I started playing religious music throughout the whole house. I didn't have an Alexa at this point in time, so I have my phone on full blast on my Bluetooth upstairs, and it's just illuminating the house. All of a sudden, I hear this big boom. My music stops. That Bluetooth is now broke in the middle of the hall.
Oh.
I'm like, fuck. After that point in time, that malicious spirit didn't come near me until Sarah came home with me.
Mm-hmm.
And that kitten came home with me. And then it sparked back up again. And that's when that vial happened. And that's when that vial stayed in my room. And you don't hear anything. I don't see anything. I haven't come up with anything besides that kitten and Sarah.
There you go.
So the second time that we went to Edinburgh Manor, it was a really good investigation. We didn't get as much.
Mm-hmm.
But Vic and I, we have a special energy. We have a special energy. I love this energy that we have. This compatible, like, Match.com type compatible.
Oh my god. I wish you guys could actually see Kyle right now. He is so giddy.
We have an unbelievable... We're connected so much. Him and I, we literally will have the same dreams.
Yeah.
We don't know why. We come from the same background, and he can relate to what happens to me. But that's a different segment. That's a different episode. We're not getting into that.
Later.
We're in Paranormal right now. We'll sit there, and he has some cool ass devices that just come out to market, and he'll drop some serious money for this shit. And I absolutely love the dude for it, you know?
Yeah.
So, there was a point in time, that whole night, I was saying, dude, I'm freezing. He goes, I know it's 23 degrees outside, but it's nice and comfortable in here. It's like, dude, I feel like I'm outside right now. I am freezing. I said, I am cold in here, but I'm warm outside.
Yeah.
And, like, I'm in 4 different layers, because we knew it was supposed to drop down in the negatives that night. I'm dressed up in layers. I'm like, I am freezing, dude. Like, I got gloves on, I got a hat on, I got a scarf on. I am still freezing. He goes, that's impossible. And if you know, when you're dead cold and you can start seeing your breath, there's a spirit around you.
Yeah.
Okay? We had multiples around me. They remembered me and Julie, but they wanted to see me because I was the most aggressive towards the guy downstairs.
Yeah.
The guy downstairs won't come out when I'm down there. We call him the Joker. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
But Vic and I, we like to sit like this. You know how in the military, back to back,
Yep.
6 and 12. That's what we did, but we were sitting side by side. I had my camera pointing down towards where I was facing. Vic had his pointing down where I was or where he was facing.
Mm-hmm.
We're asking a series of questions, and when I said my ass is freezing, he panned his camera over to me, and a wisp came out from underneath my seat.
Huh.
And when he turned back, that wisp was starting to form, and it was going into a room. That same night, we started the investigation pretty early in the fucking day. There was still sunlight outside.
Yeah.
Okay? I had a really cool-ass flashlight that's now broke because of this fucking night. We have it. I have the picture. While I'm talking about this, you're gonna look at this picture.
Okay.
We're walking down out of the women's ward, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And at that point in time, oh man, I just found a picture I really like. We're just getting out of this this room where this woman got raped by one of the employees there.
Okay.
Okay. And we were trying to get her to talk, but she doesn't like men, so we didn't get anything. It was dead silent. It was horribly silent. Okay? Why am I not finding those pictures? I know it wasn't this late. Maybe it was. Because that's the investigation. Anyway, we're walking down the hallway, and Vic's got his camera, and he's panning into each room. And all of a sudden, we hear this small ting ting, and a psh. I'm like you see me stop dead in my tracks with my stream.
Mm-hmm.
One of the guests that we had took my camera, and I'm looking down, and I look at Vic. Vic looks at me, and he starts panning into different rooms. And as he's doing that, later on, I'll tell you that story after I find that picture. I find my flashlight on the ground broke. That thing was secured on me.
Yeah.
Like literally in my pocket. It's not going anywhere, even if I do a flip. And it's now on the ground, broken. And before the investigation, whoever came, I can't find the picture, so you're not going to find it. You're not going to see it. Before the investigation, I had a flashlight burn up in my hand and catch on fire.
Ooh.
Like, we literally had to throw it outside, find a fire extinguisher, and put it out.
That ball was over here to begin with. And my feet's been over here the entire time. What the hell?
Just sparking something up here.
Guess so.
Anyway, so whatever was there didn't want me to come in, didn't want me to do anything with them. We got into the building, we're talking and all that, but we didn't catch anything. But Viking and I will catch just left and right stuff. And I have recordings of voices. I asked how many spirits were there, and I put it up on our high page. And people are saying, well, I'm hearing 1, I'm hearing 2, I'm hearing 12, I'm hearing 32 spirits with us.
Yeah.
And we're getting numerous of voices through our spirit box. We never knew we could get that many voices in our spirit boxes.
Oh, yeah.
And all of a sudden, some people come out, the rest of our team comes out. They were on the second floor. We didn't know that. And they start sitting around us. And we're like, and all of a sudden, all activity ceases. And Vic and I just look at each other and we're like, fuck, man. We're just getting on the ball of stuff.
No.
We're starting to see shadows in our fucking pen light, in his grid. Please leave. You know? So, we got the bright idea of sending only 3 team members into the building at a time, and we got a hell of a lot more than anything else, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But later on that year, Vic and I decided we're going to go through the footage in this theater downstairs. So, we're downstairs, and we're looking through, and we get to the point with my flashlight.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, you remember this? He goes, yeah, dude. So we're watching it. He captured that light before he panned back over towards the other crew members. We see that light getting dragged out by that string and thrown up against the wall.
Huh.
I'm like, dude, what did that? And he pans into the doctor's office, and it starts getting dark in between the wall and the door. And it's broad daylight. I'm like, rewind it to that, when you get to the doctor's office, frame by frame it. We start going, and there's a certain part. It gets into that door. I tell him to pause it, and he does. And I get up and I start looking, and I'm like, "Oh my fucking god!" He goes, "What?" I was like, "Zoom in on that," and he zooms in, and all of a sudden, I'm starting to cry because oh my god. He gets up and he's shaking. He's like, "What the fuck is that? We have never seen a face like this. It was fucking pure evil, dude. Pure evil." But we captured it. We didn't see it at that point in time. But technology, the way it is right now, we can see that shit.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. And it gets me so excited each and every single time that we hear something that we didn't hear at the investigation. We see something that we didn't see at the investigation.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a kid in a candy shop when it comes to this stuff.
I know you are.
You know?
Oh my god, you guys would have loved the house I lived at when we were in Reasoner. So, when I was in high school, I was bouncing back and forth between my grandma's house in Newton and this house with my dad's ex-girlfriend just outside of Reasoner. And I mean, this house was built in like the early 1900s, if I remember right. It's like 1907 when this house was built. And one night, me and Dad were sitting in the living room watching TV, and we don't have like any lights on in the living room besides the TV. And the only other light source in the living room at the time was the ceiling fan. Mm-hmm. We have all the house lights out. Kitchen, bathroom, stairwell, and the living room, all out. And I can't remember what we were watching, but it was just me and Dad there that night. I can't remember where everybody else was at. But I just happened to look up from my chair, and in the corner, I just see 2 red dots that look like they're floating, like looking over the door to the stairs. And it's like, okay, that's a little weird. And then I look at my dad and I'm like, hey Dad, you see that? He looks up, he sees it. Just about that time, a white mist comes through the gate from the stairwell, does one lap around the entire living room and into the bathroom and disappears. And it's like, okay, this is like one of my first experiences with paranormal. Mm-hmm. And I had one experience before that. And the next night, everybody else is out. I can't remember what they were doing, but I had come home from track practice or a track meet or something like that. I mean, it was middle of the night. And I get home, I'm going upstairs. I open the gate just enough so I can get through, like I usually do. Shut it, lock it, and I immediately look up the stairs, because, I mean, it's like 3 steps straight, and then it's like a hard, like, I want to say it's like a 93-degree turn to go upstairs. And it's like another 12 steps. I'm sitting here, as soon as I pull the gate shut, I lock it, I look up, because I'm already facing the corner, I'm like, and I see a black mask go from my room into the next bedroom across the hall. And there's only 2 bedrooms up there. It's a black mask that goes from my room to the other room. Nobody else is home. I go, who's up there? Just about that time, I hear 3 knocks.
That's not good.
It's like, yeah, no, fuck this shit. I got out of the house, hopped in my car, and I went to Justin's house that night.
So, for our listeners, 3 knocks usually means a demon. Okay? It's mocking the Holy Trinity. Mm-hmm. Okay? Do some research on it. Get to know what you're getting into if you want to become a paranormal investigator. If this has happened to you, please do some research. Get some help. Don't do anything. Do what Keith just did and actually fucking get out of the house and drive. 3 knocks, you don't want to hear. You don't want to hear.
Nope.
1, maybe 2, maybe 4 or 5. But never just 3. If you have 3 scratches on you, you better fucking run. Okay? That's all I'm going to say about that topic.
Yeah. Trust me, that night, I mean, it was fucking scary as hell. Mm-hmm. Because it's like my sophomore or junior year. And it's like, I come home from this track meet, and I forgot my old friend Sarah was out in the car. Because, I mean, I had to run to go change clothes and go hang out with her. Mm-hmm. And I seen that. She sees me running out of the house. I hop in my car. When we started taking off, she goes, where are we going? I'm like, we're going to Justin's. Mm-hmm. And she goes, what if Justin's not awake? I'm like, fuck. So we ended up going to my grandma's house, staying the night at my grandma's house. And it's like, yeah. At least the ghosts I know at my grandma's house are my Uncle Les and my grandpa. Mm-hmm. And the only reason I know those 2 are there is because Grandma had a paranormal experience right after my Uncle Les and my grandpa died. And Grandpa died right after, like, literally one day after his 50th birthday. And my Uncle Les died of cancer in his leg. And he was about my age when he passed away. And I guess, I can't remember who all Grandma said was there, but they were all out in the driveway. And at this time, the garage doors didn't have the electric openers like they did now. Mm-hmm. But the garage door would just go Up, down. Up, down. Up, down. And Grandma just yelled, Keith, Les, you knock it off now. That door just went, boom!
So, the very first time that I got introduced into the paranormal world, okay?
Uh-huh.
I was dating my ex-wife at this point. I was at her house. And long story short, her aunt that she's named after died in a car wreck from a drunk driver.
Mm-hmm.
And her dad is deaf, and they were siblings. Okay? They like to pull pranks on each other all the time. And Keith was downstairs, and he was telling his mom, with deaf people, their other senses are enhanced. They can't hear, but their smell impeccable.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? He ran upstairs and told my ex-wife's grandma, his mom, saying, there is a rotten, dead body smell downstairs. Like, rotten eggs.
Yeah.
And Connie goes downstairs and she's not smelling nothing. Only him, Ken, is able to smell this.
Yeah.
So he's got a therapist, and his therapist is talking and saying, well, your daughter likes to pull pranks on your son when she was living. Ghosts like to do that same thing when they're dead to their siblings. I was like, yeah, right, that didn't fucking happen. I was skeptical, you know? I was like, that didn't fucking happen at all. You know? And Bobby, who is a cop up in Chicago, Illinois.
Yeah.
He was telling me a story over Skype, and he was saying, dude, it's not a joke. I don't believe in it either. And she blew open all of the cupboards in the kitchen. I was the only one in there. I was like, okay, this is starting to make sense. Only one person is knowing this shit, and they can make up any story, because I haven't seen these fucking cupboards fly open at all.
Yeah.
And Connie, her grandmother, was saying, no, she loves Christmas, so she goes, when I feel a breath on my neck, I know it's her, and I'll say Merry Christmas, Shelley. I'm like, this is starting to become bullshit. None of this shit's happening. You know? Mm-hmm. And my ex-wife is getting ready. I don't know where, I forget where we were going. But I was sitting on her bed, I was clearly looking at her, and I feel a handprint on my back. That bed was facing a wall.
Yeah.
There's nothing back there. And I'm feeling a handprint. And all of a sudden, Shelley looks at me. I'm white. Pale. Like, I've seen a ghost. Literally. Now you know that saying.
Yeah.
And she goes, are you okay? And all of a sudden, she just sees my shirt go. And I go flying back, and I start running out that room. Like, to the point where I go to the living room where the TV's on and people are in there. Mm. And, like, I have a cold sweat. I'm, like, wide-eyed, and I'm looking straight into that room. And then Connie starts laughing. And she goes, yep. You now believe in ghosts. My daughter did something. I was like, the fuck just happened? She goes, what happened? So I told her, a handprint. Sure. Ton. That's all I can say. And she starts laughing. And that's when I started believing in the paranormal realm. That's when I started doing my research. And that's when I started actually connecting with the realm. Mm-hmm. You know?
Yeah. My first experience with it was, hey, we almost made it a full hour. But my first experience, I mean, it's kind of rough for me to talk about because it was right after my Aunt Angie passed away. Mm-hmm. And, well, as you know, because I've pretty much told both of you, at age 15, my aunt decided to commit suicide. Oof. And we don't know why. It was my mom's youngest sister.
I'm sorry.
And to this day, I still can't walk into that house without feeling something. And, I mean, it was about 6 months after she passed away. We were there for family reunion. And nobody has gone down into into the basement yet. Down into, because I mean, it was a full furnished basement, pool table, dartboard, pinball machine, foosball table, TV, whole works. And I still can't go down to the basement because that's where everything happened. And I wanted to go downstairs because something was just telling me, hey, you need to go downstairs. You need to go downstairs. I don't know what it was that was telling me that, but I started walking down the stairs, and the light switch, I missed. Like, I reached for it, I missed it. I'm going down the stairs, I'm like, okay, well, I know there's another switch at the bottom. Just about the time I get down to the bottom of the steps, I feel something playing with my hair. And, I mean, back then, I was 7. My hair was just about as long then as it is now. If not a little bit longer. And that was one thing my aunt always did when we were over there, was she would sit there and she'd flip my hair if I was sitting next to her. And I'm like, okay, why is my hair moving? And just about the time I turn on the light, I watch a little white ball go down the stairwell, around me, into the basement.
Okay.
And I'm like, this is a little weird. So I called for Mom at the time, and we were all starting to get ready to come down the stairs and whatnot for family go down, play pool, whatnot. And just about that time, I get to the bottom, or Mom gets to the bottom of the steps with me. Mom is bawling. And she goes, I don't know why, but I feel like Angie's here. And I'm like, so that wasn't you playing with my hair? She goes, no, you were the only one that came down the steps. I'm like, well, somebody was just playing with my hair, like Angie used to. And she goes, that was probably her. And we walk into the basement, and everybody else is starting to flood in behind us, and that little white ball is sitting on the far end of the pool table where it happened, and that ball just went from that end of the pool table straight up through the ceiling, up another floor. And like to this day, I still will not go in that basement at that house. I will not go into my aunt's bedroom because I swear I seen somebody waving at me in that bedroom. One day I was over there. It's like, I mean, it is hard for me to walk in that house without losing my shit.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
So, but yeah, that was my first experience of paranormal.
In every first case of paranormal, and you start believing, even if you stay skeptical, it's an encounter, and it's going to last a lifetime.
Oh, yeah.
And I absolutely love it.
For sure.
You think you know what that means?
It's time for our favorite segment, Random Questions, Stupid Answers. Alright, so this week we had a total of 3 people post 5 total questions, so those are the 5 questions we're going to be answering.
We're saving your fucking sisters for the last. Fucking dumbass.
Yes, my sister asked another question this week, along with my friend Aislinn. But I want to start with this one.
Okay.
And for those who don't know, my best friend's name is Justin. Good old Justin Reese Pittman, who we like to call the Pickle Pete. A.K.A. Pete the Potleaf, for certain reasons. Yes, anybody with Twitch, it is Pickle Pete. Yeah, it is Pickle Pete now. It is no longer PTL.
Really?
Yeah, we changed it. He changed at the same time I changed mine.
Okay.
So he is now known as Pickle Pete on Twitch. I mean, you can catch me and him streaming along with my brother-in-law, Brandon, who is married to my sister, Angel, and our friend, Dustin. But Justin wants to know what animal would be most terrifying if it had wings.
You know, I read that comment, and I got to thinking this whole week. I'm like, a fucking tiger would be terrifying if it had wings.
Okay, and why you say that?
Right, you would walk outside. You know flying tigers. You know they're gonna be they're real. And you like walk outside, you have a smoke, and all of a sudden you're getting mauled by a fucking tiger. Because it just decided, fuck this guy, I'm going to fly down and fuck his shit up. Hell no! Hell no! You can't run away from that shit. Especially cheetahs, the fastest land mammal.
Imagine if they had wings.
Imagine if they had wings! How fast would they be? Fuck that.
Now, you see, I say pigs would be the most terrifying.
Why?
If pigs could fly, that means a lot of promises are going to be coming true.
True.
A lot of them.
A lot of problems would be happening at that point.
So, yes, Justin, you see, I can probably guess what Justin's probably thinking right now. Because Justin is deathly afraid of spiders.
So, alright, Justin, if you're going to be listening to this, just know, do not ever live on the east coast of the United States. More than 500 spiders flew in. Flew, Justin. Spiders can fly. They make parachutes out of their webs. And they can fly over the Atlantic Ocean. Now, good thing that these spiders, they're poisonous, but not to humans because their fangs are so small they can't penetrate our skin.
Yeah.
So, you have no worries on that, Justin. But spiders can fly. Spiders can fly.
Love you, Petey. Okay. Now, our friend Aislinn, who asked the really serious question last week, has asked 3 more serious questions. The first one is self-improvement too selfish?
No.
Exactly. Like, if you need to work on yourself...
Do it, boo.
Do it. Because you can't trust anybody else pretty much but yourself if you're on your own.
Self-improvement is never selfish.
Exactly.
You focus on yourself, and if other people think you're selfish for it, fuck them. Leave them.
I got a big old bird ready,
Exactly.
flying right to him.
Exactly.
Because, literally, self-improvement, you're working on yourself. Is it selfish?
No.
Never.
You want to get that money and grind, do it.
Exactly.
That's not selfish. You're going to help out yourself, and if you later on think, I'm going to help out others, do it.
Alright. Her next question is emotional intelligence really so important?
For mental health, yes. For others, no.
It's easy, simple.
That's point blank and simple. There's no explanation. Mental health, yes. For others, no. That's all I can say.
Exactly. I mean, I can't put it any better than what you have. Okay. And her final question is, why do we find so much meaning in meaningless coincidences?
Because in your time of life, something sparked that, and it made you remind you of that point in time. Cut, clean, and dry.
Yeah. I was going to say, like, to me, I mean, for all, like, literally the smallest thing can mean so much to somebody.
Exactly.
So it really depends on the person and what kind of attachment they have to said objects. Like, for me, I always have... How do I want to put this? Like, don't get me wrong, I'm constantly in my head. It doesn't matter where at, it doesn't matter what I'm doing, I am constantly in my head. And, like, my ex-girlfriend's kids, for my birthday, I mean, don't get me wrong, they were, I want to say it was like 2 and 1 at the time, maybe 2 and 3. For my birthday in 2019, they gave me pine cones for my birthday, because they came to stay with me at my little apartment in Iowa City for the weekend. And while I was at work, she took the kids to the park to go play, and I kept getting pictures of them while laughing and playing and whatnot. I get home that night, and I find 2 little pine cones sitting on my pillow. And she goes, yeah, kids wanted to give you these for your birthday. And I'm like, aw. So what did I do? I took those and stuck them on the dash of my truck. And for the longest time, I mean, until what? Maybe July of 2021? 2021 July. I still had those 2 pine cones sitting there. Because that's how much it meant to me. That
I made my dad a toolbox back in high school.
Yeah.
2009. Okay, I made this back in 2009. Made a toolbox in shop. literally made the dimensions, folded it up, even had a tray inside that he could lift up, and there was more tools on the bottom. He could put that back down, shut it, close it, hold it, and nothing would come through. He still uses it to this day. We were putting up the kids' bunk beds, and he brought in his tools, and I saw that toolbox, and I was like, aw, my dad still uses my toolbox that I made for him.
Yay!
Like, the sentimental things that kids give to you, especially when my boys give something to me, I'm going to find it really special because they gave it to me.
Yeah.
You know?
All right. So, I've got a question after we ask this one. But this one you have to answer specifically, Kyle. This is from my sister Angel. You should really boo her.
This question is the dumbest fucking question on this planet.
Anyway, Angel asked specifically to Kyle, are a man's balls different sizes like woman's boobs? Kyle, your answer please.
Angel, did your mom drop you on the head when you were a kid?
She is my sister.
I'm being dead serious. If guys had different sizes of balls, they have cancer. Okay? Prostate fucking cancer.
Mm-hmm.
There's no D cups, A cups, C cups, B cups, double D ducks. There's nothing. No! No! What the hell is wrong with you, Angel? What the hell is wrong with you? I'm serious. We're getting real close to that 3 idiots who don't know nothing instead of just 2.
Hey, she said she would special guest an episode.
Oh my god. Oh my god. How? That is like the dumbest fucking thing ever. Ridiculous. Okay? Like literally... That's Angel's mind 24/7.
Pretty much.
Alright?
Love you, sissy.
Alright, guys.
Alright, I got one question for both of us to answer.
Okay.
Okay, so, this question is, what is a very unusual time to use the phrase, ta-da?
Wait, say that one more time?
When is a very unusual time to use the phrase, ta-da?
After sex.
Okay, explain this.
My girlfriend's looking at me. Seriously. You get done having sex, you finish, she finishes, and you get up and say, ta-da! She's laughing!
Now, you see, my answer to this, kind of close to yours, but when you're drunk at a party and you want to take a piss in the middle of the living room,
ta-da!
Well, you're got your dick out, and you're just standing there in the middle of the living room, or you're pissing in a corner, midstream, you just look over, and somebody just dead in the eye, and you just go, ta-da!
Oh, God.
Alright,
next week's episode
music.
is music. Can it change your life? You don't want to miss this. And I promise, guys, we will be live next week. My dumb ass. My dumb ass, yeah. We're not gonna go there.
Well, you do have a little blonde there showing her, Kyle. So.
All right, guys. We'll see you guys next week. Thanks for tuning in.